Hey there, and welcome to the fourth part of basic trigonometry. If you haven't seen the other three parts, please do go back because things do get somewhat more complicated in this part. Okay, this time we're looking at the extensions of each of the ratio graphs. By ratio I mean sine, cosine, tangent. You see here I've drawn out the cosine graph. Now last time we only looked at this half, the positive side of the graph, but this time we're also going to be looking at the negative side. So as you can see, it still touches the same degrees, 90, except on this side negative 90, negative 270, so on and so forth. Okay, next the sine graph. This one is a little different because it's opposite. By opposite, I mean this curve here that touches 180 is like a reflection of this curve down here. See, because if you look, this line curves to touch 180. It curves up. On this side, it curves down towards 180. So that's a way to remember the sine graph. The tangent graph doesn't change much except for the way that 360 is. On the positive side it curves up, on the negative side it curves down. Alright, so solve for x when x is bigger than negative 180 and smaller than 360 to 3 decimal places. Now I've already got the answer here, so I'm just going to check it. 0.755 equals 3925. Okay, whatever. We're not going to bother with the huge numbers, so that's right. We know that this is the answer, but there are other possible answers. Now last time we only drew the positive side of the graph, so this time we're going to draw both. So 0, 360, 90, and 270 somewhere in the middle there. Negative 90, negative 180. Oh, I forgot 180, that's right. 180. That's not perfectly proportioned, but we can still work with it. Negative 270 and negative 360. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to remember the cosine graph. So if we just draw it out on this side, if we just continue like that, we get the full graph. Alright, so now we need to find now we need to find positive 139.025. So that is about, we'll just say about here, 139.025. Okay, now you need to look over to here to where it curves down once again. So if you look over right there. So now how do we find that? Well, we know that this all the way to here is 139.025, so this also must be that. So we're going to go 180 minus 139.025, and we get an answer of, well, in this case it's going to be, oh sorry, I shouldn't write here. It's going to be an answer of negative 40.975. Let me just check that. Cosine of negative 40.975, and we get our answer. Don't know if you can see that right there. We get our answer once again. Okay, so now let's do this one. Solve for x when x is greater than negative 360 degrees and smaller than positive 360 degrees. So I've gone through and we've solved the answer of negative 35.264. So now, this time, we're going to draw the sine graph because we're working with sine. Okay, so we start at 0, negative 360, 360, 180, negative 180, oops, sorry, 180, negative 180, 90, negative 90, negative 270, and 270. Okay, degrees, 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 and degrees. Okay, now for this one, actually I'm going to move some stuff out of the way just in case it's hard for you to see there. Okay, so there's our problem, and here's our graph. So now we're going to draw the sine graph, which curves like that to touch 180, to curve back up to touch 360. Once again, on this side, curves down, touches 180, and curves like that to come and touch 360. Alright, now we need to find negative 35.264. Negative 35, we'll say that's about here. Negative 35 point blah 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 blah. Alright, now we need to look at the symmetry of the graph. So we've got here this